All right, guys. Today we'll be looking at the taxonomic classification of parasitic organisms. We spoke about parasitic organisms, and we came to actually agree on the fact that parasitic organisms are basically organisms that depend on another organism for their nutrition and protection. Okay, so parasitic organisms cannot really survive on their own, or even if they survive on their own, once they come to their host, they tend to like behave like they don't have anything so that the host gets to like take care of them on everything. All right, so taxonomic classification of parasitic organisms. All right, so this is just one classification of parasitic organisms. There are several other classifications of organisms, of parasitic organisms. All right, so our focus is to look at the taxonomic classification of parasitic organisms, and you get to see that under this type of classification, we are basically looking at the body structure. How complex is the body structure? So we have parasitic organisms that are basically one cellular. They are just simple structure, just have one cell. Then we have parasitic organisms that are what multicellular. All right. So this is what we'll be treating in this topic. All right. So this is the table that I'll be using, but I feel like let's read what is in the lecture before we go back to the table. So taxonomy classification of parasitic organisms. We say that parasites are classified into two subkingdoms, right? That's our protozoa, which are unicellular, and the metazoa, which are multicellular. All right. So the protozoan, which are unicellular, let's talk about them. They are classified according to what morphology and means of locomotion. All right. So basically, for you to sub-classify the different types of protozoa that we have, you must know their morphology and you must know their means of locomotion. Right. So there are about what 45,000 protozoa species. So most species can cause human disease. Sorry. Most species that cause human disease belong to the what? Phylums Sarcomastigophora and the what? Apicomplexa. Okay, so these are basically in medical microbiology. Basically, we are looking at the microorganisms that can cause harm to the human body. So, in as much as protozoa are made up of several classes and all those stuff, right? We'll be focusing on what phylum Sarcomastigophora and the phylum Apicomplexa, okay, under protozoa. Then, the second classification of parasitic organisms based on taxonomy, we have the metazoa, all right, and metazoa include worms, that's helminths, and the arthropoda. And the arthropods basically they possess an external skeleton, all right. Examples of arthropods we have the ticks, the lice, all right, and all of them can cause harm to the human body. So when we start talking about diseases caused by parasites, we'll be talking about all these ticks, lice, helminths, more and more, right? So you should note that the genus starts with a capital letter when actually writing the the botanical name of a parasite. You should know that the genus name starts with a capital letter. All right. So before we move to the last slide, you guys could take a look at this. You see the metazoa. These are multicellular organisms. Then we have the protozoa. These are what single cell or the unicellular organisms, right? So metazoa are subdivided into several classes. We have the helminths, we have the phylum Arthropoda, all right? So helminths are dealing with all those worms, nematodes, which are the roundworms. We have the trematodes, we have the cestoda, we have the helminths, okay? Then for the phylum Arthropoda, that's where you're talking about insects, all right? So just on the last slide now, you guys could see different parasites that can actually what infect the gastrointestinal system, right? So, but apart from the gastrointestinal system, parasites can actually infect the human beings in several other places, right? So that will be going deep on it when we start talking about the types of diseases that can be caused by what parasites. Okay, guys, this is it, and this is a classification of parasites based on what taxonomy. All right, so bye for now.